2-9, solving one-step inequalities by adding and subtracting. Like I said, adding and subtracting inequalities is the same thing as adding and subtracting with equations. So if I give you the problem, x plus 52 equals 28, Gabby, how did I figure out what x was? Right. Right. The opposite of adding, we wanted to give you a 0, right? We wanted to cancel out. So if I minus 52 here, what's 52 minus 52? Nothing, right? They go away. So if I do it to one side of an equation, I have to do it to the other side. The hardest part that you will struggle with, if you're going to struggle, which I don't think you would, but if you did, it's going to be those rules. Remember, when I do 28 minus 52, how do I figure out what 28 minus 52 is, Jonah? Okay, so what am I going to do first of all? Add the opposite, right? So same signs keep and add, different signs subtract. So what is 52 minus 28? 24. Is it going to be a positive or a negative, Mario? Negative. So we know that x is negative 24. Perfect. 0 to 5, how many of you remember equations? All right. I'm going to give you this exact same problem, but I'm going to give it to you as an inequality. X plus 52 becomes less than 28. So remember, with equations, you have one answer, right? Just one number. What happens when you have inequalities? How many answers can you have? So multiple, because if it's less than or greater than, you're going to have lots of numbers that fit that solution. So as I'm doing this inequality, I want to do the exact same thing that I did with the equation. How do I get rid of a positive 52, Matt? Yeah, minus 52, negative. Minus 52. So this is going to cancel out. I have my x. Instead of having an equal sign, what do I bring down? The less than sign. Perfect. We know we add the opposite. We already did the work up there, so we know it's 24, negative 24, right? So this is your answer. It's no different than equations, except for I'm putting an inequality sign instead of an equal sign. Now, so that means on here, x equaled negative 24. That's the only answer it could be. If they said graph that on a number line, you would have negative 24, and you would have a dot on it, because that's what it equals. It includes negative 24. There's nothing else. But now with inequalities, earlier, you also learned how to graph inequalities. Remember? If x is first, I'm going to put my negative 24. Is this going to be an open or closed circle? Open. Why is it an open? Who can raise their hand and tell me? Anna. There's no line under it, so that means it's not what? Doesn't include that number, right? So it can't be 24, but it could be anything less than. So which way does my arrow go, Mario? Right, to the left, because if I put the number out here, like negative 100, is negative 100 less than negative 24? Yes, so I know that my arrow's right because it covers all those solutions. If we look at this problem, first thing you want to do is, how do I get rid of a minus 143? Taylor. Plus 143. Raise your hand if you're not sure why I'm doing that. So everyone gets that part. Is that fair to say? Then I'm going to add plus 143 here. Or I'm adding a 143. That's going to go away. Now, you guys, if the part of the inequality throws you off, just do it as a normal problem as integers. Negative 210 plus 143. Let's think about the rules. Is it an addition problem? Yes, we don't have to change anything. Then the song says, same signs keep and add, different signs subtract. Are we dealing with same signs or different signs? Different signs. So what do? Subtract. 210 minus 143 gives me 67. And is it positive or negative? Take the sign of the bigger number. Negative, right? So now we know we have an x. We can bring down our equal to, greater than or equal to sign, and negative 67, because we solved that. If they ask us to graph it, I'm going to go ahead and say a negative 67 is right here. Do I have an open or closed circle? Why is it closed, Kristen? It includes it. Now, if it's greater than in the x's first, which direction? Right. Very good. And you can check because, what if I said 50? Is 50 greater than or equal to negative 67? 50. Yep, it is. So it's getting bigger, so I know my arrow's in the right spot. First of all, we have to rewrite this problem, right? You can't have two signs. This becomes x minus 108, right? Because a positive and a negative give you a negative. Less than or equal to negative 27. How do I undo a negative 108? Add 108. And I do it to the other side. Now, looking at this, it's already a plus, right? So same signs, keep and add different signs. So you're going to get 81. The bigger sign is 108, so it's a positive. So it becomes less than. So if I look at it this way, I can say a positive 81. We know it's filled in because it includes, it has the equal to sign. Anything that's less than 81 will work. So if I were to say 27, is 27 less than 81? Yep, it works. Now, the thing I want you to see is what happens when it does this. Normally the x will come first, but sometimes it won't. Negative 64. Whoa, we do not want that to happen. Pretty fancy, but not what we want. Negative 64 becomes greater than x minus a negative 205. So let's just walk through this together. If I do, you want to try it? Okay, try it. This one right here was quite challenging. So if I look at this, I'm going to keep my negative 64, my greater than. I can't have two signs, so I have to rewrite that. What's two negatives going to give me? A positive. So I have plus 205 now. So that now is the new problem I'm dealing with. How do I get x by itself? Gabby. Okay, so you went ahead and you wrote x plus 205, right? And then what did you do? The sign, right? Why did Gabby change the sign? Right, because you changed the order. So if this is pointing to the x, it still has to point to the x. If you rewrite it, I'm going to keep it both ways. So if I don't rewrite it, that's completely fine. I have it both ways. Either way, how do I get rid of that 205? You subtract 205. And I'm going to subtract 205. Either way, if I do it, keep it this way, I'm going to subtract 205. I'm going to minus out 205. Now the rule says when you're subtracting, you have to add the opposite, or we're adding the opposite. The rule says same signs, keep and add, right? Sign, subtract. They're the same sign, so I'm going to get bigger number. So 269, the bigger number is negative. In this case, I keep my x is less than. If I do it in this case, it's negative 269 is greater than x. What do you notice about both x's? What do you see? The less than sign is pointing to them, right? So if this has the point to the x, this has to have the point to the x if you switch it around. If not, when I graph it, I'm going to say negative 269. Is it going to be an open or closed circle? Open. X is less than. Less goes this way. If you use the trick, and you say, okay, x isn't first, then you flip the other direction.